All right, Mohammed, I'm interested in what you have to say here.
It's
Usually
interesting the idea
I
of the
kind of take
Fed
what he says with a grain of
perhaps
salt, but
having to slam on the
it's
brakes
different.
to
Let's talk
hasten,
relative.
more rate cuts before perhaps the economy is ready for them or the markets are ready for them. It sort of assumes that there is a pain
Well,
threshold
you
for
look
the
at
Fed,
this,
that
it's
there's
like
not a
it's
new
interesting that
framework
he
that's
said
going to
that
let them
because
be
it's a number
more
of
tolerant of higher levels of
the
inflation
Federal
than there
Reserve
have been in the
making too
past.
many
Is that
pay
something that
numbers, and in order to do that,
you
they have
think
to
is
make
open for
cuts
question?
across the board and make a tax
So I think
game
the
this
pain
way,
is there. I
lower the
think when they look
competition
at
or
the
charge
CPI
them
6.8%,
more as a
when they look at
standard
people
on
saying
the
that the
Inglings
core
angle.
PCE is going to go up, when they look at the possibility of a seven
They
handle,
couldn't
and
keep
this has
up is a
become a
great way to put
political
it.
issue as well as
You
an
know, that
economic,
thing spiked
social, and
off where
financial
that
issue.
number's right
The
there is
pain is
probably more
already
than the
there.
WHO's
So
entire
they are having
fucking
to play massive catch up.
tax
And the question is, at
department
what
coming in,
point
short of
do they
private
lose their
donors,
nerve?
just doing
I
it
don't know what
loosely
the answer is. I
consolidated as
think the
the ledger,
marketplace assumes
the
that they're
jar,
going to get it
Everest
just
jar.
right. And the Fed has been incredibly supportive of markets, so the conditioning of the
Like I
marketplace
said, and you're looking at
is
it
to
like
assume that the Fed will
photon,
get it
gluon,
right.
W boson,
But
Z
the
bond. It puts
economists will tell
one of
you
us in some of
that
that
it's not
position.
a
And even if we're
that it
relatively
is not a
close to it, there
dominant
might be a
probability.
time
This is
topology
going to be
difference
really
which
tough. The
tightens
Fed
that
has
off at that
exchanged
limit.
70
For
record
me,
highs and a
I was
third
out
year
on
of
the end of
double-digit
the up and
returns for the
down.
marketplace for a much more difficult
Find diagram.
2022 policy outlook.
Netflix, Apple, Walt
Does
Disney,
the way the
AT&T,
bond
Comcast.
market has absorbed
Mike the
this
Cop killed
likelihood
that
of
one.
not
He's
just
like,
the higher
Comcast was
inflation
control of
for
the
longer, so
911
far
call
anyway,
center.
but also
Press 1 if you would like
perhaps
in
the
America.
Fed rate hikes are more, in
And there's the
certain
money, right,
scenarios this year.
Pfizer?
Does it tell you anything
Taking the
about,
who?
the market's ability to be resilient in the face of
I'm
this?
well, though,
We
like
have a
incorporated.
flattening yield curve to some degree, but we obviously have not seen the kind of inflation panic running through the bond market.
We haven't, and that's
Mine's
because
Martelli
the
and
Fed
Sarge.
continues
Button
to
toggle
buy,
switch.
and we're
I think
not
I'll break your
going to
neck.
really see the genuine response of the bond market till the Fed stops its purchases. And that's going to happen in the
Well,
first
we start
quarter
with a
of
limit
the
like
year.
this. Now that I know
But
I
you
have
already
some kind of
the
ZBrush, even
sense
if it's
in the
not
bond
ZBrush, but I'll beat the
market
devil out of it.
let's keep an eye out
I'm
for
gonna start
policy
going with
mistakes.
that kind
You
of
refer to it
phthalo
in the
blue
flattening
and
of the
phthalo
curve.
white and
So we
putting
have
it all
priced
together to
in
make a little
quite a path for interest rate hikes. But
peacock mini
further out
colors.
the curve, we've also priced in concern about demand.
Ain't in
So
Kansas no more.
the bond market senses it, but it's not fully pricing in it yet because the purchases are so dominant right now.
I do
What
it
are the
on paper
implications for the rest of
because
the world
it helps
here?
me with the
If you
notes
just
to
look at how
take and do
markets
the
have
programmer.
behaved,
Without
obviously,
them programmer
Asia and
notes,
emerging markets
just
generally
straight up
had a
Neo
weak
in it,
2021,
Jesus
a
walking
lot
across
of
water
noise
stuff.
about, COVID
Yeah,
restrictions
there's
and
other
things
models
like that,
at the
and supply
table.
chain issues. Europe's done
Peter
okay,
dropping
but
combos
what
at the
would
table.
it mean if if the Fed is going to be kind of leading the way in tightening policy or having less easy policy?
There's one of them at that.
And that's critical, Mike, because if you look purely at valuation, as some people are doing, you are very tempted to rotate.
Well, you
out of
did
the
this
US
one
and
wrong.
Europe
If you
into
did this
emerging
one wrong
markets
and you're trying to
China.
do this one,
That's
and
what
both
you
of
would do
them,
if you
you're
were
trying to take on both those
valuation
speed run hacks,
However, if
right?
the
You
Fed
dead.
is in play,
Like I get
and
maybe
the Fed
one small
can end up
compartmental
with
in
a
the
policy
in the
error, you really
infrastructure
don't
build
want to do
here,
that.
but look,
Because
that
we
task
know
assisted
that
thing
when
is
the
ones and
US
zeros, and you still have to
sneezes,
program
the
some
emerging
skill
world
variables
catches cold.
that the AI
Now,
run
add on top
over
of that what you mentioned,
generations
the
and
zero COVID
generations,
policy,
and
which is going to
having
be very
back in the
difficult to
day
maintain in
Nintendo's
China.
processors
I
and
myself
powers
would
and
not
7-bit
take
Genie
the US
game
and
and
Europe in favor of
7-bit
emerging
game
markets
that
in
you use the
China
Game Genie through to
because
hack the
I am
ROM
worried
to
about
get
the
in
policy
here,
error,
and
and I'm also
then you
worried
get Mario
about
Maker
what
running. And
zero COVID policy
so
means
that
for
time
economic
will tell.
activity
And
in
you get one of
China.
those guys in there that
But
can
some
do
other
numbers like
people,
that, and
Mike,
you have
are
them
advocating. They
do the speed
advocated it
run
last year, they
on
advocated the
free
year
particle
before,
wave,
and it didn't work
Schrodinger,
out
brick and jar,
in either year.
conjecture, plasticity of a steel bolt. I mean, like, well, playing catch up. They're gonna have to make moves.